Yeah, it's a universe, you know, like it's an entire giant empty edifice with very little content. We're milliseconds after the Big Bang, you know? Like we're nowhere near Earth yet, but it is something that is much bigger than I think that we're comfortable admitting, even in the industry.
Just want I was just going to add a small thing. I agree with both of you. I just want to say that I like the knowledge difference from the standpoint of, I mean, not comparing the system with the internet, but the idea of, you know how like there is no way, even if you spend every minute of your life reading web pages now, there's no way you can finish the whole web. I think 2016 probably is the year where like, no one can experience all of the art anymore. Probably next year is going to be that year. But like right now we can still demo stuff, go to the conferences, go on Steamroll everything and start looking at them, Oculus and so on. But like very let's say it happens, I'm not sure, I'll call it up. But if it didn't happen, it's going to happen in the next few months. No one's going to be able to experience all of the metaverse of VR anymore. And it's huge to think about it. Like people are just creating stuff popping up all over the world, and it's very humbling. It's crazy.
No, I mean, the great thing is this stuff is happening really fast. Like the first consumer VR headsets were released earlier this year. Like, that is crazy to think about.
Yeah, actually going back to the earthly aspect that you mentioned, one of the things that I've been fascinated by is spaces, and for a long time, and it's extraordinary how judgmental people get when you show them a 3D avatar of their own face versus showing a friend's face. So a friend's face, a little bit inaccurate is fine. Their own face, boom, they are like super big. So there's so many cognitive issues that go on into producing a digital representation that even that's another technology where if you and I have to have a meaningful communication where we understand our sort of gestures and some of the expressions and emotional changes that your face is exhibiting and body language. It feels like the technology has to, the science has to evolve to the next level, both in constructing these avatars and animating them.
Yeah. No.
So that it makes a seamless experience, even if you want to be an act, not just.
Right, and I totally agree. I mean, the real world, like reality, is this really awesome, crazy fucking thing that we get to live in every single day, and we aren't going to be able to replicate how awesome the real world actually is in VR for a really long time. And I don't even know if when we can do it, it'll be as interesting as we think it would be, because like the real world is so cool, and like I can taste things, and I could like feel cold air on me, and like another human's touch, and it's like you can't get past a lot of these things that you get in reality. I think that a lot of virtual reality that is compelling to me, at least, is the more lucid, experimental type stuff where it's not trying to replicate anything that I'm used to seeing, but it's actually giving me something entirely new to wrap my head around. That's the stuff that's pushing my brain, and it feels like it's actually almost building new neural connections sometimes, because I've never been able to orient myself around something in this way. But I think you're right, like there's so much that goes in, there's so much complexity in humanity in the real world that we don't necessarily need to replicate it too perfectly in social, in my opinion, to make it work. You just have to do things that are otherworldly, that are things you couldn't do outside of VR. There's a great artist and here, his name's Isaac Cohen. He made a game called Blarp. He's a 3JS artist. He has amazing stuff online as well. You can find him at Cabibo, C-A-B-I-B-O. But he said something like, reality's awesome unless you're like riding a rainbow elephant up to like a space star, like with low gravity and like crazy frequency, and you're seeing, color, and you're tasting sound, that's what VR needs to be. That's what we need to build. Like, not this room in VR.
I think we'll open it up to the audience. Anyone has questions? It's
question, please.
The question is, how long does it take to create one of those avatars that are shown? Is roughly 40 seconds.
I'm curious how you see the limits of current motion and expression capturing technology affecting the social scene. Like I know right now, all of the current headsets are essentially head tracking, but not eye tracking. And that's one of the really key things in nonverbal communication when you're talking to someone. So how do you see that affecting the current social scene and communication? And how do you see that changing over time?
Yeah, I'll answer that. So I think the best example of this is an AltSpace. AltSpace, for those who don't know, is probably the largest VR platform right now. Social VR, you and I can pop into the same virtual room and basically stand next to each other like this. And rotate around, and then if we have, we can kind of teleport over to here, and then rotate like this. And it's, you're right, it's very limiting.
And to add to it, it's static.
Yes,
Right.
your face is
Yeah,
static
they're not even smart.
the whole time. You can talk to each other, and but yeah, it doesn't feel real at all. It's interesting. It feels, I'd say, not even as good as video chat in terms of the presence. The way it's going to change over time, though, our clothes are being integrated into that platform, and that's one very exciting step, which will allow you to walk around and communicate with your body. Body language is like 80% of communication, so that is really good. And then second, as far as face tracking goes, there's companies working on like eye tracking cameras and mouth tracking cameras that are going to be built into the headset. I think that's going to be absolutely huge for communication. I don't know when it's going to come out. I hope soon now.
Just want to add something to that. I totally agree. But I want to give the other answer also, because just to be devil's advocate, I feel like there's always two camps fighting in our industry concerning like this realism, or like how much input you bring into the platform and how much abstraction you on purpose leave away. So for example, even with deep motion, like the whole debate about you want to have your hands in VR and nothing on them, or you want to have a controller that's kind of this agnostic thing with even maybe some fingers with touch, like nothing else there, and so on. And then I think it all goes back to the multi-dimensional, the uncanny valleys. Are you guys familiar with uncanny valley? It's basically just the idea of like, let's say you're making a robot humanoid. The more realistic you make it, the better it is, until like there's this big valley where like it looks super like weird, like unsettling. This person looks like very similar to a human, but it's not a human, and it's like, and then it goes back to the So I think on a different dimension, which is about facial expressions and like realism of people in terms of social VR, it's very similar. We look at the avatars that Facebook has rolled out, the social VR platform. They're nothing. They're not even faces. They're just like these metallic or like impressions of people, just a face and just the hands, which is like most of the body language. It's really cool. Also, if you look at eye tracking or even like smiley faces, just like eye, and a smile. That's it, and you get the emotion. So the cartoonish way that like Zuckerberg and avatars are doing is also really well. I think the thing you're showing with this group is amazing because it abstracts away all the other kind of small, like irrelevant details, but just the main limbs are there. So I think it's always a kind of design trade-off between like how much abstraction, what matters, what clutters it, and how much realism do I want, what feels more complete. Like if you have deep motion without haptics, is it complete? Is it not? Depends on use cases too. But I totally agree.
I think we are running out of time. We can probably stand outside if you guys